Think about what you ate today. Chicken, beef, maybe some pork. You probably didn't think twice about it. You grabbed it off a shelf, pointed at a menu, and that was that. But here's the thing. You never actually chose any of it. Every single animal you've ever eaten, it was selected for you, thousands of years ago, by people you've never heard of, in places you've never been. And there's one animal, massive, actually pretty delicious, and genuinely terrifying, that almost made it onto your plate. An animal that the United States government seriously debated farming, that almost became as common as a hot dog at a baseball game, the hippo. And the reason it's not on your dinner table tonight has almost nothing to do with how dangerous it is. Stick with me till the end, because the last part is going to change how you see every meal you've ever eaten, and maybe how much of your own life you've actually decided for yourself. Okay, let's get the obvious answer out of the way, because yeah, you're already thinking it. Hippos are monsters. They weigh up to 9,000 pounds. Their teeth can grow nearly 2 feet long. They can run faster than most people on land. And in water, they just disappear. They can hold their breath for 5 minutes. They'll walk along the bottom of a river without surfacing. Whatever's about to flip your boat, you won't see it coming. They kill around 500 people every year in Africa. More than lions, more than leopards, more than crocodiles. So yeah, dangerous. Extremely dangerous. But here's the problem with that answer. Dangerous has never once stopped us. We hunted whales across open ocean in tiny wooden boats. We trapped bears in their dens. We went after sharks, alligators, giant tortoises. Our ancestors hunted woolly mammoths, animals twice the size of a hippo, with sharpened sticks. Danger has never been a deal breaker for humans. Not once. Ever. So something else is going on here. And to find it, we need to go back. Way back. To a river. Picture the Nile. Not the modern one, the ancient one. It's loud, it's wild, and it is absolutely packed with hippos. Not dozens, not hundreds, tens of thousands of them. Every riverbank, every slow bend in the water, hippos everywhere. They graze the fields at night. They capsize fishing boats just by surfacing. They're so woven into daily Egyptian life that the ancient Egyptians built a goddess shaped like one. Her name was Taweret, body of a hippo, tail of a crocodile, paws of a lion, goddess of fertility and protection. But here's what's wild. The ancient Egyptians didn't just worship hippos, they ate them, enthusiastically. Hippo meat shows up all over ancient Egyptian records. Hunting one was considered one of the bravest things a pharaoh could do. Carvings on temple walls show kings in reed boats, driving spears into hippos from above. The fat was rendered down. The meat was described as rich and dense, somewhere between beef and pork. And the Egyptians got so good at hunting them that they wiped hippos out across the entire Nile, a species that had lived in that river for millions of years, gone in a matter of centuries. Not because they were too dangerous to kill, but because they were too good to eat to stop. Hippos had vanished from Lower Egypt entirely, gone from most of North Africa by the late 1800s. The same people who built the pyramids ate hippos for dinner. So the idea that hippos are uneatable, that's not ancient wisdom. That's not tradition. That's just something we forgot, which makes what happened in 1910 absolutely fascinating. The year is 1910, and America has two very serious problems. Problem one, meat. The population is booming. Cities are exploding. Demand for beef and pork is growing faster than farms can keep up. Prices are climbing. Major newspapers are running headlines about a national meat shortage. People are genuinely worried that ordinary Americans won't be able to afford protein within a generation. Problem 2. Louisiana's waterways are being swallowed alive. Water hyacinth, this pretty ornamental plant from South America, had gotten into the rivers of the American South, and it spread. Entire waterways choked. Fish dying. Boats stuck. Local ecosystems getting strangled by a plant that had zero natural enemies in North America. Nobody could stop it. Now imagine you're a politician in Washington, staring down both of these disasters at once, when two very unusual men walk into your office. Frederick Russell Burnham was a legendary American scout, spent years in Africa, survived wars, deserts, jungles across 3 continents, considered one of the greatest outdoorsmen alive. Fritz Duquesne was a South African soldier of fortune, hunter, spy, a man who'd operated in situations most people couldn't even imagine. Together, they had a proposal. Import hippos into the Louisiana bayous. The hippos would eat the water hyacinth, clearing the rivers. Problem 1, solved. Then Americans would eat the hippos. Problem 2, solved. They even had a name for the meat, lake cow bacon. They wrote articles, gave speeches in Washington, got a Louisiana senator, Robert Broussard, to officially sponsor the bill, $250,000 in federal funding to bring hippos to American waterways. It was called the American Hippo Bill. And the press? They were mostly for it. Scientific American covered it seriously. The New York Times didn't mock it. Think about what that means. In a version of history that almost happened, hippo ranches exist in Louisiana right now. Hippo burgers are on menus. Lake cow bacon is in your fridge. The bill failed. Barely. Political momentum shifted. It died in committee without a full vote. And just like that, Hippo's shot at the American table was gone. But even if it had passed, would it have worked? Because here's the part Burnham and Duquesne maybe didn't fully think through. You cannot tame a hippo. People have tried. One man raised a hippo from a calf, fed it by hand, let it sleep near his home. It followed him around like a giant barrel-shaped dog, came when he called, seemed completely gentle. Then one day, without any warning, it killed him. That's not a one-off story. Hippos raised in captivity around humans from birth will seem calm for years, sometimes decades, and then something ancient fires in their brain, some territorial instinct that no amount of hand feeding ever reached, and they attack. You can't train it out. You can't condition it away. You can't breed it out in a generation or two. The animals we actually farm successfully, cattle, pigs, chickens, sheep, they were domesticated over thousands of years. Breeders selecting generation after generation for lower aggression, for calm in confined spaces, for tolerating humans even under stress. That process rewired those animals at a genetic level. Hippos never went through it. Out of hundreds of large mammals that existed 10,000 years ago, humans successfully domesticated exactly 14 species. 14 out of hundreds. Cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, horses, camels, llamas, a handful of others. That's it. The rest were biologically disqualified, not because we didn't try, but because of tiny mismatches in temperament, diet, breeding behavior, social structure that made farming impossible at scale. Hippos failed on almost every single one of those criteria. And here's the part that proves it, because the hippo experiment actually did run, just not in Louisiana. In the 1980s, Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord, built a private zoo at his estate. He imported 4 hippos, 1 male, 3 females. When Colombian authorities killed Escobar in 1993, the hippos got left behind. Too dangerous to move, too expensive. Most zoos refused to take them, so they stayed, wandered out, found rivers. The Colombian climate, warm, wet, suited them perfectly. No natural predators. Nothing in South America evolved to kill a hippo. They bred and bred and bred. Colombia now has over 130 feral hippos living in the wild. Scientists project that number could hit 1,500 by 2050. They're already changing river chemistry, disrupting oxygen levels, displacing native species, spreading bacteria Colombian ecosystems were never built to handle. Ecologists are calling it a slow-motion ecological disaster, one man's abandoned zoo, and it's now Colombia's biggest wildlife management crisis. That's the closest the world ever got to the American Hippo Bill actually running. The results? Not great. So let's come back to your plate. The chicken, the beef, the pork. You didn't choose those. History chose them for you. The animals you eat are the 14 winners of a biological lottery drawn 10,000 years ago. They had the right temperament, the right diet, the right social structure. And because they won, they spread across the entire world with the humans who domesticated them. The food you grew up eating isn't neutral. It isn't random. It's the inheritance of 10,000 years of one very specific biological accident. The hippo almost made the list. The ancient Egyptians proved the meat is good. The numbers were definitely there. But the temperament was off. The instincts were wrong. The social structure made human integration nearly integration. And every version of hippo farming humans ever tried, from the banks of the Nile to the bayous of Louisiana to Pablo Escobar's backyard, either collapsed or became a disaster. Not because the hippo is inedible, but because the hippo simply refuses to be owned. You almost ate hippo. Somebody decided you wouldn't, and you never even knew there was a decision to make.